This is the story of Ruby, a story of silent love, fragile hope, and unending trials. Sometimes love gives us wings, but sometimes it ties us down with invisible chains. Ruby's life was one such tale, and today I will take you into her world. Ruby's childhood was filled with laughter. Her days were bright with games, shared secrets, and dreams that felt endless. But behind her laughter lived a secret, one that her heart guarded carefully. She loved Ethan, her cousin. They grew up together in the same house. They played in the garden, shared books, whispered under the stars, and carried the bond of childhood that slowly transformed into something deeper. To the world, they were cousins. To her heart, Ethan was everything. Yet Ruby never said a word. Her love remained silent, locked away in the pages of her heart. She was afraid of rejection, afraid of family judgment, afraid that speaking her truth might ruin everything she already had with him. But time does not stop for hidden emotions. Families have their ways of planning futures, and Ruby's family was no different. Relatives whispered, elders discussed. Behind closed doors, decisions were being made. Decisions that had nothing to do with Ruby's desires. Tradition was heavy, and her voice seemed too small to be heard. Ethan, however, could no longer remain silent. His heart, too, had carried love for Ruby. One day, with courage burning inside him, he expressed his wish. He wanted Ruby. He wanted to spend his life with her. His words were bold, and when they reached the family, they changed everything. Soon, Ruby's engagement to Ethan was announced. For the first time in her life, Ruby's silent love had found a voice. Her heart bloomed like a hidden flower finally kissed by the sun. Happiness entered her chest with a rush. She thought destiny was finally on her side. When Ruby's mother approved the match, her heart swelled with peace. She smiled through tears, holding the engagement sweets in her hands, thinking, "Finally, my love has been accepted." But joy is often fragile. Just as life was beginning to smile at her, a shadow fell across her path. Ruby's beloved teacher, the one who had guided her with wisdom, who had encouraged her dreams, who had treated her not just as a student but as a daughter, suddenly passed away. The news struck Ruby like a storm. Standing in the empty classroom, she felt the air heavy with silence. The chalkboard still carried half-erased words. The chair where her teacher once sat was empty, as if waiting in vain. Her heart sank. Why did happiness always come with sorrow? Why could life not give her joy without stealing something precious in return? The school principal saw Ruby's grief. With gentle words, he told her, "Life tests us in strange ways. You must stay strong. Do not lose yourself." Ruby nodded, but inside her heart trembled. She wondered if this was just the beginning of more trials. For a time, life moved on. Ruby tried to balance her studies with her new engagement life. She clung to Ethan's presence like a fragile flame in the dark. But then, another storm came. Ethan's parents began to hesitate. The whispers of relatives grew louder. Doubts entered the air like poison. And then, the unthinkable happened. Her engagement was broken. Ruby's world shattered. The sweets that once symbolized joy now tasted bitter. The promises she had once held in her heart crumbled like dust in her hands. Ethan, The man she had loved since childhood was pulled away by the cruel grip of family expectations. She felt betrayed, abandoned, and crushed. Nights were sleepless. Days were heavy. She stared at walls, wondering why destiny was so merciless. Why was love given to her only to be snatched away? And then came another blow. A marriage was arranged for Ruby with another man, a stranger. A decision forced upon her, leaving no room for her heart. The same family that once celebrated her engagement now pushed her into another bond, as if her feelings had never mattered. Ruby's wedding day came. She dressed as a bride, her face covered with makeup, her body draped in fine fabric, but inside she was breaking. Every step toward the wedding stage felt like walking toward a cage. The laughter around her, the music, the celebrations, all felt like cruel jokes. She smiled because she had to. She sat quietly because tradition demanded it. She hid her tears behind lowered eyes, her heart screaming silently, "This is not the life I chose." Days turned into months. Ruby moved into her new home, her new life, her new role. On the outside, she was a wife. On the inside, she was a prisoner of her memories. Nights were spent remembering Ethan. Her heart whispered his name in silence, but her lips never dared to speak it. Her husband was kind, but kindness could not replace love. Ruby fulfilled her duties, yet she lived like a shadow of herself. She cooked, she cleaned, she smiled when others watched, but in solitude, she broke into pieces. Everywhere she looked, she saw fragments of her past. The swing in the garden reminded her of Ethan. The smell of books reminded her of the teacher she had lost. The sound of laughter reminded her of the girl she once was, but could never be again. Ruby's life became a cycle of silent suffering. She endured quietly because that is what society expected of her. She buried her dreams because no one wanted to hear them. She carried the weight of love, betrayal, loss, and forced duty, all in one fragile heart. Years passed. Ruby changed. She no longer cried at night, but not because she was healed. She had simply grown numb. The fire of her love, once bright, had now turned to ashes. And yet, somewhere deep inside, her heart still whispered the same truth, that love is not always about union. Sometimes love lives in silence, in sacrifice. Ruby's story is not one of fairy tales. It is not about happily ever after. It is about reality, about how life tests the strongest hearts, about how love can exist without being fulfilled, and about how some souls are destined to carry their pain silently until their last breath. So when you hear her story, do not look for a happy ending. Instead, look for strength. Look for the courage it takes to love without reward. Look for the bravery it takes to survive when your dreams are crushed. Ruby was not just a girl. Ruby is every person who has ever loved in silence. Every heart that has ever been broken by fate. Every soul that has endured quietly because the world left them no choice. This was her story, the story of Ruby. Some stories are not meant to inspire joy, but to remind us of the strength hidden in pain. Ruby's story is one such reminder. And maybe, in her silence, we can find our own voice. This is where we say goodbye to our listeners. Thanks for being with us. If you liked our video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.